Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel. It is June 28th, 2025. We're going to have a gold price update. The market was weak on Friday. Gold was down by about $60, so I want to put this into perspective in the most clear way possible. That is what we do here on this channel. We try to sort through all the baloney, all the BS, and arrive at the most clear data possible, which is always by tuning out the stories, tuning out the pumpers, and talking about the actual price behavior itself. That is what we do. Let's get into it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon if you're watching on YouTube. If you have a moment to give it a thumbs up, I would very much appreciate it. It does help out the algorithm here for the channel. Last but not least, if you're watching on X or if you're not following us on X, the handle is at iGlobalGold, and you should know that certain weeks when I don't have a chance to post on YouTube, I post for free quicker updates on X. Let's get into this update, our legal disclaimer. And here we go. Here is gold going back from late last year, late 2024 through the present. Here's the week day that we saw on Friday. You have a bit of the premium that was built into gold over the last, let's just call it the last 2 weeks, on the fears of perhaps the start of a larger war between Israel and Iran and then the United States getting involved. You have a lot of that fear that came out of the market over the last several days, as it seems like this will not morph into World War III, at least in the immediate future. And so the market was saying, okay, we don't need to be so worried. And so people sold their gold. Now, we have to remember that in the big picture, especially when we look over the last year, I mean, this conflict between Israel and Iran has only been going on, at least in the current iteration of it, has only been going on for the last 2 weeks. So certainly all of this price behavior back here late last year and into the first half of this year, when gold was very strong, this did not have to do with Israel and Iran. So, gold is not just going to give back all of these gains just because it looks like maybe there's going to be a ceasefire in the Middle East. There were distinct monetary phenomenon going on back over the course of the last 6 months, which accounted for more of gold's rise. Weakness in the US dollar, huge budget deficits in the United States, debt problems around the world, all those things contributing. So that said, let's take a look at the price action here. We have a very clear resistance zone for gold between 3,435 and 3,500 precisely. That's 1, 2, 3. You can see each of these peaks coming here within this zone of about $65. So this is our resistance zone. Remember, this is the all-time high set in April, 3,500 exactly in the spot market. Here is our resistance zone. Now, what's interesting is if you look at where the support levels are coming in, notice that the buyers are emerging here at higher and higher intervals throughout time. And if we look at these 5 major swing lows going back to the beginning of the year, these form along a very nice trend. I mean, you've got to be blind to not be able to see that buyers are emerging at a specific level here. If you really follow the message of the market, you have buyers emerging at higher and higher intervals throughout time. And at least over the last 3 months, we have sellers emerging at a relatively flat resistance zone between 3,435 and 3,500. So this is the pattern that the gold market is in. And there is a name for this pattern in official technical analysis textbooks. The name for this pattern is called an ascending triangle. It's a triangle that has flat resistance and rising support throughout time. Now, the bias for a pattern like this, if you study technical analysis, either with us in our premium service, or if you study this on your own, you will learn that the bias for an ascending triangle is to have an upward resolution eventually. Because eventually the sellers in this resistance zone get worn out. And since the buyers are emerging at higher and higher levels, at some point the buyers are expected to overwhelm the last of the sellers, and this market starts to move its way higher. So what I expect is shaping up here for gold is, my highest probability here is that we're going to get this recovery here. Gold did rise about $20 off the low, so it's clear that buyers were respecting this trend. Gold rose about $20 off the low on Friday. It looks to me like we are going to recover here over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then sometime in the month of July, make a fourth attempt at breaking this resistance zone. What I expect at a fourth attempt is that the precise fourth attempt will not yet be successful either. But typically after a fourth attempt, it's not a very dramatic sell-off. It's typically more of a flat, sometimes a bull flag pattern, we can call it, because it looks like a flagpole with a flag sloping downward. Sometimes it's more of a horizontal, just time-wise consolidation. But typically that's what we will get after a fourth attempt at breaking a horizontal resistance level. And then it will be, the fifth attempt. Typically it is the fifth attempt at these ascending triangle patterns that is successful. So this is my highest look for gold. I would tell you that even though gold was weak on Friday, there's nothing about this pattern here that looks bearish over anything other than the very short run. Gold even could violate this trend and just need to consolidate a little bit higher and then break out on the far side of the trend, more like August or September. But as things stand right now, all of the evidence shows me that the gold market is just consolidating in here. This is typically the weakest time of the year for gold. June and early July is typically the weakest time of the year. So if that's the case, and we're getting a low setting up in here, then when we get into the stronger time of year, which typically coincides with early August through mid-September, that's when I'm going to be looking for this breakout to come. You got to remember also, as we get into late summer and early fall, that's when the gold market tends to see a lot of the buying coming out of India for the Indian wedding season, which is typically August, September, early October in the fall. So you get a whole new cohort of people who are buying gold who don't care so much about the monetary problems, or they don't care about the war premium, but they come in and buy up all this physical gold every year in the fall. That's why we often get these breakouts, let's call it late summer or early fall. So this is the look at gold here. It was weak on Friday, but the overall pattern looks very healthy. And remember, the rule in technical analysis is that the visible pattern is valid unless proven otherwise. So this is our operating model. Fifth time should be successful here over the course of the next, let's call it 1 to 2 months is what I'm looking at. So if you were looking at this gold market and saying, hey, I want to finish up my buying of either physical gold or gold mining companies, I don't think you have too much time remaining for this consolidation. If you're a serious precious metals investor and you like the type of analysis that you've seen today, you have to understand the power of receiving regular technical analysis on the precious metals markets week in and week out, covering everything that you need to know as an investor. Our service, Precious Metals Intelligence Plus, features weekly premium member video updates, just like you've seen here today, but much more in depth. Every single week, we cover not only the long-term, but also the short-term perspectives for physical gold, physical silver, the entire gold and silver mining sector, as well as the stock market, the currency markets, and Bitcoin, because everything is related. You have to be an aware investor to know what is happening in other aspects of these markets. Not only do you receive the premium video updates, but you will receive flash updates directly to your email inbox the moment that we make a buy or sell decision, or the moment that something impacts the precious metals that you need to be aware of. All of this is included in Precious Metals Intelligence Plus, click on our homepage to learn more about subscribing today. If you are a higher net worth investor, you have to understand the power of private placements. In our service called Elite Private Placements, we invest in the same companies that we are investing in here, gold and silver mining companies for Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. However, the difference is that in Elite Private Placements, we get even better terms on the investments because I negotiate terms directly with the mining companies. In addition to negotiating the terms, we also receive free warrants on every single investment that we make. And the warrants give us nearly twice as much upside for investing in the exact same gold and silver mining companies as here. It's just that they give us the warrants for free. And so we get that additional upside because we are higher net worth investors and we are helping these companies to literally finance their operations going forward. So check out Elite Private Placements. Remember, you will receive a free subscription to our flagship research service, PMI Plus, if you join us in the Elite service. If you would like to sit down with myself, Christopher Aaron, and speak one-on-one, either on the phone, on Skype, or in person if you're in my area, you can book a consultation on the website of our homepage. And I am not paid one single cent by any of the mining companies or any of the bullion dealerships. I am 100% independent. And so in our consultations, I'm able to sit down and assess your entire situation and tell you exactly what I would do if I was in your situation. And this comes from a researched and independent perspective. Once again, someone who is 100% focused on assisting individual investors. So I hope you will take the information that you've seen today, think about what is coming for the precious metals markets, and join us.